All right, welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to talk about multiplying polynomials. In this section, you're going to learn how to multiply monomials, how to multiply a monomial and a binomial by a binomial and a trinomial, how to multiply binomials, and then how to multiply binomials and trinomials. The process for all of these things are very, very similar. And so we're just going to go through some examples. To multiply polynomials, remember two important rules from the previous sections, right? So from section 1.7, we talked about the distributive property. And we said that if we multiply a times b plus c, we can rewrite that, and there's a typo here, we can rewrite that as a times b plus a times c. Right? The a distributes throughout the problem. The second thing you need to remember is the rules for exponents. So if we multiply variables, right, multiply variables with the same base, then we add their exponents. And we talked about those in sections 3.1 and 3.2. So when multiplying polynomials, you're going to distribute each term of one polynomial to the other. And then you're just going to multiply term by term. One thing to remember is that if we have something like 3x plus y squared, right, anything raised to the square just means to multiply it times itself. And so this is just 3x plus y times 3x plus y. We'll see more with this in a few examples. And so for the rest of this section, we're just going to practice this idea of multiplying polynomials. So here, first we want to just multiply some monomials. So to multiply monomials, we first multiply the numbers, then multiply the variables. Well, here we have negative 3x times 4x squared times 1x cubed. Well, negative 3 times 4 is negative 12, times 1 is negative 12. And then x times x squared times x cubed. If we multiply those three together and add all of their exponents, 1 plus 2 plus 3, we're going to get x to the 6th. So multiply the numbers, then multiply the variables. For this example below, negative 4 times 8, well, that's negative 32. X to the 5th times x squared. When we multiply variables, we add their exponents. X to the 5th times x squared is x to the 7th. And then y times y cubed is going to give you y to the 4th. To multiply a binomial or a trinomial by a monomial, distribute the monomial to both terms. So if we want to multiply 5 times 3x plus 1, and this should look familiar from previous sections, well, the 5 is just going to distribute. 5 times 3x is 15x, and 5 times 1 is 5. We're going to do a similar thing for the second problem. 3x times 7x squared, well, 3 times 7 is 21. X times x squared is x cubed. 3x times 8x, well, 3 times 8 is 24. And x times x is x squared. And then 3x times negative 2 will give you minus 6x. And so remember to distribute a monomial to each term of the polynomial you're multiplying times. If we're multiplying two binomials, we want to distribute each term in the first binomial to each term in the second binomial. So 3x minus 2 times 9x plus 4. We're going to take 3x and multiply it times 9x. Well, 3 times 9 is 27. X times x is x squared. Then we're going to multiply 3x by 4, and that'll give you 12x. And now we've taken 3x and multiplied it times both terms in the second binomial. We now need to take negative 2 and do the same thing. And so negative 2 times 9x will give you minus 18x. And negative 2 times 4 will give you negative 8. And now we're not quite finished because we can add some like terms. We get 27x squared. 12x minus 18x will give you minus 6x minus 8. So we're going to do something very similar on the bottom here. 3x to the 4th times 7x will give you 21x to the 5th. 3x to the 4th times negative 3 will give you minus 9x to the 4th. 2 times 7x will give you plus 14x. And 2 times negative 3 will give you negative 6. In this case, there are no like terms. And so we can't add anything up. We just leave the answer the way that it is. So if we want to multiply a binomial by a trinomial, we're going to do the same thing. Distribute each term in the first polynomial to each one in the second. Okay, we're just going to wind up with more terms at the end of this problem. So we're going to start with 2x. 2x times 3x squared. 2 times 3 is 6. X times x squared is x cubed. 2x times minus 5x is minus 10. X times x is x squared. And 2x times 6 is plus 12x. So we've multiplied 2x times each term in the trinomial. Now we need to multiply 1. 1 times 3x squared is plus 3x squared. 1 times minus 5x is minus 5x. And then plus 6. And now we just need to add our like terms. 6x cubed is going to stay the way it is. It's the only x cubed term. We have negative 10x squared plus 3x squared will give you minus 7x squared. 12x minus 5x will give you plus 7x, and then plus 6. And so this idea of multiplication of polynomials works. Just take all the terms in one polynomial and distribute it to all the terms in the other polynomial. So at the end of this lesson, you should be able to multiply monomials, binomials, and trinomials.